Hey y'all, welcome back to another one of these little podcast things, if you will. I'm with Alisha. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Alisha.
You run Farm Fresh USA on Instagram, right?
Yeah, farmfresh_USA and then Cleveland. Got a couple pages.
Sure. And is there anything else you want to shout out? Like, do you have a YouTube or anything?
My YouTube is Strange Reality. I think it might be Strange Reality Vlog. And that's pretty much it.
Sure. So the first thing I want to talk to you about, we were talking about this just before we started recording, but you have a face, like you have some kind of face paralysis. What's the name of your condition?
When I was born, they said it was a left nerve deficiency. Basically, I was born 3 months early, and I assume that's what happened. My mom was on like seizure medication, and so she couldn't breastfeed or anything. So I think I just wanted to get out of there. But as I got older and I started researching, it looks like it's called Mobius Syndrome, MOEBIUS. Basically, like partial paralysis. So my left eye doesn't close all the way.
Okay.
And then I can't hear out of my left ear, and then my mouth.
Are you able to see out of your left eye?
I can see out of it, but it gets super dry because it's open all the time. Like, I don't know if you can see if it's open.
Yeah, I can see.
But, I see light, but I can't really see, like, the eyelid is closed, but because it's open, there's, like, a little bit of light there.
Okay.
So I was using eye drops my whole life, but after reading We Want to Live, I was trying to experiment with the, egg whites.
Mm-hmm. How'd that go? Because I want to try it, but I honestly, I have to admit, I'm a little scared because my eggs aren't perfect quality, so I'm a little nervous about that, but tell me about it.
I have not been successful in getting it in my eye. Like, maybe I need to buy a dropper, but I just have not been successful in, like, trying to grab the egg white, get some in my eye. I kind of end up just getting it around it.
Okay. Well, I'm not too sure about how egg whites would work as a lubricant, but I do know Aajonus recommends putting butter in your eye to help heal it if you have like glasses like I do. I haven't tried this, but I do know it makes your eyes irritated and makes them red, and that's why you're supposed to do it at night. So, just a little warning, I don't know if egg whites do that, but they might.
I did learn, I was Googling eye strain because I started working from home 5 years ago, and just being around computers and monitors, everything, just complete eye strain. But they said to take milk and put it, like, I put it on my eye, like on the outside, and the enzymes from the milk, I don't know what they do, they probably nourish the eye, but it's really relieving. And I was doing it with pasteurized milk years ago, but now I started doing it with the raw milk. And even if it gets a little bit in there, I don't care, I feel like it's so nourishing.
I've never heard of that before not even from Aajonus. I'm really surprised that people were recommending that. But going back to the raw food thing, obviously the main reason I have you here is because you're a raw foodie. Would you consider yourself a primal dieter or some kind of raw foodie?
If you said primal diet, would it have to be 100% in your opinion?
What I would consider a primal dieter is somebody who listens to Aajonus, and at least, the majority of your diet is based on Aajonus.
I would say primal diet then, because what happens is, what happened was I was struggling making a lot of the recipes, like sport formula, even the lubrication formula, moisturizing formula for a girl, just because my husband is really sensitive to smells. That's how I learned about the primal diet, just because I literally Googled, can you eat raw meat? Because we can't cook in the house. Even with the windows open and the fans on, it gives him a panic attack, an anxiety attack. And he's not on board 100%. Like, he is completely, still believes in Western medicine and the Rockefeller, and so he was against the diet completely. But I've been eating raw meat since 2002, when I read We Want to Live, and trying to incorporate as much as I can of the recipes. Like, I don't have a juicer, so I was chewing the celery for a while. Now I just kind of buy celery juice about once a month from Healthfully Primal Farms. And then I just buy the lube formula too, because for some reason my husband hates the smell of butter. Even when I was trying to make my own cheese, like just the stinky feet or
Yeah, it does kind of smell like
Parmesan
stinky
cheese.
feet a little bit.
Yeah, he just hates it, and it wasn't worth the arguments. You know, it wasn't worth the stress of me trying to, okay, do this while he's sleeping, or try to figure out a way to do it outside. I'm in a one-bedroom apartment with a balcony, so there's not much room. You know, I tried to do my high meat outside, and it ended up kind of cooking in the sun, so that didn't really work out. But I'd say, to generally answer the question, for sure.
I had no idea that you read We Want to Live in 2002. I thought you'd only been doing this like 6 or 7 years. 2002.
No, did I say 2002? I meant 2022.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Okay, 2022.
Okay, I got it. Yeah, because I was
So
gonna ask,
then-
like, how did you even learn about Augenus before the internet? Because it was a real niche thing, you know. The internet's
Yeah.
really brought this thing to the front line. Because I'm sure you've noticed. I think with all the rising health problems, like people are like, we need to change. Something needs to be done. You know, we can't continue living like this. But in the like roughly 3 years you've been on the diet, with your conditions, is there anything you'd say has improved when it comes to conditions, or is it more or less your quality of life has improved trying to follow the diet?
Struggle a lot with anger and frustration, but I'm working on that from like more emotional aspect. What I really noticed was the acne got a lot better. I still break out, but I don't know if that's like the detox or what. But my acne did get better, and my bowels got like almost immediately better. I used to, everything I ate used to just run right through me. I didn't get like diagnosed with leaky gut or anything, because I didn't go to the doctor. But just my bowels were completely better, like nice solid. You know, I know that's gross.
No, I mean it's absolutely true. I know some people like to say, oh, if you can't tolerate vegetables or whatever, it means you're unhealthy. But like, come on, if you go on a long elimination diet where you don't eat like really harmful things like that white bread from the store, and then you actually reintroduce it into your diet, that's when you really realize how damaging that stuff is. I did a little video review of a vegan the other day, and he eats like, I mean, he eats Beyond Burger. He eats all the worst things ever. And he's only 25 years old, and he was complaining about how it feels like his intestines are being ruptured. And I was like, come on, you know, if you're eating like that, you know. But the guy refuses to change because of, you know, the ethical dilemma and all that. But speaking of ethical dilemma, I do want to talk about, you're really into like regenerative agriculture, right?
Yes, I actually made my Instagram page just to promote regenerative farming.
When did you
I personally feel like it can feed the world. A lot of people are like, there's no way that it can feed the world, but I absolutely believe it can.
Enlighten me a little bit. What is the definition of regenerative agriculture or regenerative farming?
Off the top of my head, it would just be working with nature, not against it. So you wouldn't be using pesticides. I know that some people might till, depending on like what type of farm it is, but generally it would be a no-till, rotating the crops, cover crops, no pesticides, and in a perfect world, you know, like if it was like a primal farm, you know, there'd be no dewormers or or even iodine when you're milking the cows, like on the teats or anything.
Okay, so I definitely agree with that. I think this idea that we can't feed the world on natural animals is completely crazy. I mean, cows literally eat grass. They come on. I think it's ridiculous because, you know, you hear these vegan arguments that are like, oh, if we just ate what we feed the cows, then we'd end world hunger. But like, if you actually look at what they feed cows in these factory farms, I mean, it's barely even edible. Like, let alone the fact, even if it was high quality vegetables, that, you know, we still wouldn't be able to live on that. But yeah, I'm totally against factory farming, and I agree with the regenerative agriculture stuff. It's really crazy, I think, that they say things like, "Oh, the cow's farts are warming up the globe." Like it's crazy. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
I would have to say that'd be the personal jets, you know, and the automobiles. You know, there's a really great documentary. If anybody is interested in understanding the veganism or regenerative farming aspect, The Lunatic Farmer by Joe Salatin. really broke down the regenerative farming. You even can make your own like water source and ponds, and because if we keep pulling from the ground and the aqueducts or whatever, like I have some conflicting information. Like Cultivate Elevate explains, Matt explains how we have unlimited water, and then other people are saying like the aqueducts are rapidly disappearing in the groundwater. So I don't know where I'm at with that yet. But like when I was going through trying to figure out how to feed myself in my home situation with not being able to cook, I just was doing like salads forever. Just like put everything you can in a salad, and it just went right through me. I mean, everything was in the toilet. There's nothing digested at all. So my next step was the raw meat, and that's when I found Scott Hall and Aajonus, and it's just been an amazing journey since then.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
And my
it's
taste buds, I really noticed the most with my taste buds. I tried to eat like a Dorito like a year ago, and it was so disgusting.
oh no,
I don't
absolutely.
know how my taste buds changed.
Yeah, like I don't cheat on the diet, and I've seen people that when they first start, they'll struggle with cheating, and it's just because your taste buds are totally fried for a little bit. You heal after I'd say a good year on the diet, your taste buds really fix, but for those first 6 months, I mean, you still have what you like is still really messed up. Like here, I'll give you a funny example. Now, I don't think children should really be eating vegetables or fruit, but as I've gotten older, I started to like vegetables, specifically vegetables. I've started to like them more. Like I really like onion, I really like garlic. Like I don't mind a little bit of leafy greens, but I don't really eat them for nutrition. Like I'll throw them if I make ceviche. I'll throw some parsley in there, and
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed of eating that. But as a kid, I definitely remember if I had like a burger or something, if they put lettuce or onions, I'd take that all off. I just wanted the meat and the bread. And honestly, for some reason, I never really thought of this as a kid. I never thought about removing the buns. But if for whatever reason that thought occurred to me, I think I would have just eaten the cooked meat plain. But do you have any stories like that where you could tell that you wanted to eat meat instead of vegetables when you were younger?
Not really. I have always loved all food. I love breads, donuts. I loved meat. Barbecue chicken was probably my favorite thing as a kid, ribs. But what's funny that I noticed was after reading We Want to Live, my husband, he would always get whatever we ordered with just meat and cheese. Now, it would have the bun. So if you got a taco, it'd have the shell, meat and cheese. If you got a hamburger, it'd be bun, meat and cheese. And I was just like, when I was into the carnivore phase and stuff, like, that's so intuitive. Like, how did he know he doesn't want onions and lettuce and all this mayonnaise and he hates condiments, So I thought that was pretty interesting. He just doesn't realize it yet. Like, he'd probably thrive on carnivore or primal diet,
Yeah.
But one thing with the cheating, like, when I first started, it was definitely weird to get used to the raw eggs. The texture is really hard. One time I swallowed it, came right back up, and went down the sink. I was like, I lost my egg.
Yeah, I say this to people all the time. I think it's shocking when I hear people say, "Oh, I like to cook my meat, but I drink my eggs raw." For me, I mean, I think I'd prefer the other way around because even to this day, I don't really like raw eggs. I'll drink them because they digest very well. They feel good in my stomach, but I don't love it. It's kind of like drinking snot. You were gonna say something else, I think. I might have interrupted you.
No, you're okay. I'm just trying to think of the cheating on the diet thing. It's so important because what I realized was you're changing your taste buds eating ancestral or, like the natural human diet. And then if you do cheat, what you're doing is you're reversing like all that work. Like when you read the book of the Dorito effect, it explains all the chemicals that they put in it and how it like changes your body. I don't know, it's hormones or, whatever. But it changes, let's say, your taste buds. So then when you go back to eating the primal diet, you're like, this is gross, and you have to readjust all over again. So it's pretty pointless to think like, okay, I'll do this 80-20 or balance, or because you're just setting yourself back.
Absolutely.
The hardest part for me with the raw eggs, I keep finding like the fishiness And I've tried the soy-free, corn-free. I have to get those shipped because they don't have them around me. The grocery store, I did the pasture-raised. There's like that little membrane that connects the whites to the yolk.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so hard for me to get that little tiny membrane down. But I absolutely love it in a milkshake. You know, I can't get enough of that. And then when I was trying the general Primal Diet guides, like where you eat the piece of cheese, wait 10 minutes, and then have 3 to 7 eggs, 5 to 7 minutes in between. I wasn't full. Like, I would eat 4 eggs. I'd try 6 eggs. I'd try 7 eggs. Like, I was just never full. And I was like, maybe the eggs aren't supposed to fill me up and you're just waiting for that next meat meal.
Yeah, that's what it is.
But I never feel full on eggs. Like, no matter how many I ate, I've eaten 10 at once, and that was about it.
No, I absolutely agree. And it's because eggs, people see it as a fat source, but really, eggs are a protein source. Because a stick of butter, which I'm a little extreme with it, I'll eat like a stick of butter for breakfast. But a stick of butter is like 30 eggs worth of fat. So, you know, you either need fat or carbs for satiation. Obviously, fat is ideal. So, yeah, the eggs, you know, aren't optimal. But the eggs aren't optimal if you want to feel satiated. But the reason Aajonus says this is because, you know, you have the cheese, you remove the toxins that might be in your stomach when you wake up, and then you have those eggs, and they set you up for the day with very good energy. Maybe you'll feel satiated for a couple minutes, but then, you know, 20-30 minutes later, you're ready for the meat meal. And that's when you have your first real meal. But personally, in my experience, after like 4 years, almost 4 years, 4 years next month, I feel the best breakfast for me is I'll start with the cheese cube and then I get straight to my meat meal. You know, I just do the meat meal. I'll have a loop formula with that, and that's how I feel. Because here's the thing. Now, I do think Aajonus's protocols are the best if you want to heal, but me personally, I really don't have time, like all the time. Like if I have to go to work, I really don't have time. So I do my meat meal first thing in the morning. And something people do forget to keep in mind is Aajonus's protocol. A lot of it is for people who are like deathly ill. And if you're not deathly ill, there's some things you can be a little loose about. Obviously, you shouldn't cheat, but maybe instead of the eggs for breakfast, you just go straight to your meat meal. You know, I don't think it's too serious.
Now, when you do cheese in the morning, are you doing a little bit of honey, or is that for something else?
Say that again?
I was trying to figure out, like, the cheese trains, because a lot of times it's just hard for me to constantly eating the cheese. Like, I feel like I need something else. So I'm like, okay, add a little bit of honey. But I just can never remember if the honey is for a specific reason or if you're always supposed to do the cheese and the honey.
So, if you want to eat the cheese for nutrition, you always got to do it with honey. If you don't have honey, you could do it with unripe fruit because the fruit has enzymes like honey. But if you, in my personal opinion, mixing cheese and like pineapple in your mouth tastes a little weird. Some people might like that, not me. But in general, pineapple and dairy taste a little weird. It kind of feels like they're not meant to be together. But anyways, the cheese trains, you do it without anything in your mouth. Just you take a little tiny cheese cube, the size of like a sugar cube, you swallow it down, and I think it's every 15 minutes throughout the day you'll have it. Now, not everyone can do the cheese trains on a consistent basis. Like I run out of cheese. Right now I don't have any cheese with me, for example. But it is ideal, especially if you're very sick. But when I'm trying to conserve my cheese, what I do is I'll save the cheese. Oh, wait, I just saw that mug. Let me see that mug again.
Do you remember raw meat experiment? Like, don't talk to me until I have my salmonella. So I always have my eggs up.
That's funny. Yeah, I remember raw meat experiment. He kind of disappeared though. I haven't seen him.
Yeah, I seen that he was putting like the final closeout sale for the man cream stuff, so that's getting shut down.
But yeah, back to the cheese thing.
But with go ahead.
I'll wrap it up. It'll be quick. But yeah, for me, I used to save cheese. I had nausea for the first like 6 months of the diet. I had a pretty big problem with the nausea, and I think it was just toxins going to my stomach. But yeah, I would save the cheese for if I felt nauseous, I'd have a little cheese cube. It always cured it. It always cured my nausea. But yeah,
because I always, when I get really hungry, I start like salivating, like, the saliva builds up and you're so nauseous. And I've been doing the cheese because it's a lot easier than trying to get the egg down when the mouth's watering like that.
Yes.
But I always have like cold hands and cold feet, so I was just saying how the cheese and the honey helps that too.
Listen, cheese and honey is crucial. Like, I think at least you should have at least a snack that consists of some cheese and honey a day. I think it's really crucial anytime you have cheese to mix it. Because in my personal opinion, if you also want to gain weight, I actually think eating a lot of dairy is a little bit more optimal than meat, because it's pretty hard to get fat just eating meat. I think if you have like cheese and honey and you drink milk until you feel like you're going to explode, that's usually a lot more efficient at putting on weight.
Yeah, and it was always hard for me. My goal was to eat like a pound of meat a day, but I struggled to even get a half a pound of meat a day. Just, I don't know if my stomach's just not used to it, like, or if maybe I gotta split it up into smaller sections. Like, I was just, I did the carnivore diet before the primal diet, so that was where I was like, okay, eat a pound of meat based on like your body weight. So I struggled to get all the meat down. I did find that I love lamb and pork way more. Like, that's my favorite, lamb and pork.
Yeah, for me it's chicken. I'm not sure if you've seen my videos or like my general theme, but I'm like the raw chicken.
The Aldi's one?
Yeah. I'm more so referring to the raw chicken video. I'm like the raw chicken guru in the primal diet, because I tell everybody, I'm like, forget about red meat, switch to chicken, because for the most part, most people do better on chicken. Like, I think it's more delicious. But I was gonna say,
it's so calming. Like, I was trying to do that to help with the anger issues.
Oh, absolutely. I was gonna say, I think the reason you struggle getting down meat is just because your taste buds are a little messed up from eating like really delicious foods. So you need to make recipes. And I have this by coincidence. I wasn't gonna show this, but over here I have a little bit of leftover raw chicken ceviche. Let me show you. You can barely see it because, I mean, there's barely anything left over, but, it's onions, it's a little bit of thyme, lemon juice. I mean, this stuff is delicious. Have you ever had, like, ceviche before whatsoever?
Sort of, but with the smells in the house and everything, when I used to eat onion and garlic, my husband would just say it's because I'm Italian, but I would just stink. Like, I don't know if I just sweat more than the average person, or maybe it affects me more, or maybe, like, you could say allergic, but, whatever it is, I stink for days. And this is no matter how many showers, I can take 3 showers a day, I have that onion and garlic odor. So I cut it out. I know that it's in almost every one of Aajonus's recipes, but I completely cut it out. So with the ceviche, I'll just use, like, the lemon or lime juice or tomato, just everything but the onion and garlic.
Yeah, I mean,
and then with the flavor, delicious.
Absolutely. I mean, my recipe, it's literally lemon juice and red onion. Cutting out the red onion wouldn't be the end of the world, But no, yeah, I do think if you have some kind of hypersensitivity to plant foods, you should totally cut them out. But if you don't have a problem like me, it's nothing to be scared of, because I think some of our guts are just so damaged that, vegetable fiber is inherently a little harmful, but some of us are so damaged that, that like a minute amount of harm the vegetable fiber might cause just isn't worth it. But yeah, I do suggest the recipes for sure. I think lemon juice and chicken is super delicious.
Moisturizing formula, I'm only saying that because I'm female, but it literally tastes like lemon meringue. Now, every time I made it, it is a little different. Like, one time it was maybe I messed up the proportions, but one time it was way more delicious than other times. And I only probably made it about 8 times so far. And, I was just, like, done arguing with my husband, because, like, as I'm melting the butter, with the hot water in a dish, he starts to smell it. And I'm just like, okay, I'm going to find a way to do this elsewhere.
No, yeah, I absolutely agree. Another thing that can change the flavor is just the batch of the butter. Like, I've had... Because it kind of depends where you get your butter, but, like, if I have, like, Amish butter, it tastes completely different to, like, the butter we have down here. Like, totally different.
Now, with the chicken, I was going with Hares Valley Farm, but it comes frozen. But the thing is, there's no vats, no corn, no soy. I was like, this is the best quality I can get. Then I'm like trying to think, if I do the grocery store, is it bleached in chlorine? Is it this, that, injected? I want to try to find fresh chicken to try because I did really enjoy the frozen chicken, and listening to Aajonus, I was so scared of frozen food, but he says you still get some nutrients. Like, no, it's not going to be optimal. No, it's not going to be 100% nutrients, but maybe 20% is better than nothing.
Absolutely.
But I really I was going to do like your grocery store run and just try out the fresh raw chicken.
Yeah, so I'm kind of trying to like make a series where I go to like every store people generally have and find things that you can find, because listen, some people are a little bit crazy about the food quality. I personally think it's unreasonable to tell everyone, oh, you need to get corn and free chicken that's never been frozen. It's a little bit unrealistic because some of us, like, there's people who live in the heart of New York City. Like, you're not going to get anything good down there, you know? So
Kind of a good, better, best thing. Like, we know it's optimal, but what's realistic?
right, so I think
Stress matters, right? Like, stressing out is so harmful.
oh, absolutely. Right, so if you want some recommendations right now when it comes to chicken, I know 3 stores that have good stuff. Number 1, Sprouts. They have a brand called Pasture Bird. That's really good.
Okay.
You writing it down?
Yeah.
Sure. You ready for
I
number?
remember that. I think I've seen some videos of Pasture Bird.
Yeah. It's really good. It's one of the best chickens I've had. I just don't have a Sprouts near me, so I got to use a different store, which is Aldi's. So that's number 2 right there. At Aldi's, honestly, I'd have to show you a photo because the kind of chicken I get, it's organic free range, but it's from this one very specific company that for some reason it says organic free range, but it's actually pasture raised, which is something that happens. It's very uncommon, but it does happen. Occasionally there's brands that are called free range that are actually pasture raised, but most of the time...
Out. I did take a screenshot of it because I watched your oldie video. Did you call or how'd you figure that out?
Yeah, so I emailed the brand and I asked them what the chickens eat, and they told me it's on pasture. They eat like 10% bugs, and then the rest is like something like 60% corn, and the rest is soy. So they do eat some, they eat a lot of corn and a little bit of soy, which again, not optimal, but I don't think it's the end of the world. And then when it comes to the frozen thing, I asked the employees, I'm like, do you guys freeze it? And they say, no, it comes fresh and they never freeze it. So for me, that's
acceptable. And you're not worried about them dipping it in hot water to pluck the feathers? Like, that's being too picky, right? Or the chlorine wash?
Well, that's absolutely a concern. But when it comes to the chlorine wash, I've had chickens from Walmart that, like, the chlorine wash, you can see it with your own eyeballs. Like, there's water in the package. This brand, I don't see that. Ideally, you might want to scrape a thin layer off, but I personally haven't had any issues. And when it comes to the dipping it in boiling water thing, I mean, you kind of have to do that to, get the feathers off the chicken. I guess in a perfect world, instead of boiling water, it'd be like really hot water. But Aajonus says it cooks the skin of the chicken, but not the actual meat. So, it's not the end of the world.
Oh, sometimes just take the skin off, maybe.
Yeah, but...
And that was the thing with the eggs. Like, even when I found organic eggs, it would be, like, vegetarian fed.
Yeah, vegetarian. What's hilarious? Not to spoil my next video, but I recorded a video today at Publix, if you know what that is, and I was shit talking the vegetarian fed eggs because, come on, it's literally just says it's a fancy word for, oh, we feed it the cheapest corn and soy we can find. It's ridiculous. But yeah, there's one more place that has good chicken. It's Whole Foods. You've probably heard of it. They have the air chilled chicken.
Okay.
So the air chilled chicken, I hear a lot of primal dieters swear by that because the way I don't exactly know what they do, but they do something where they don't just spray it with antibiotics. They do something special to it to allow it, because if I'm not wrong, chicken in America has to be treated in some kind of antibacterial way. Like, people are just really afraid of bacteria, so especially with chicken, man. So I wouldn't be surprised that they do something to all the chicken.
I cannot wait to try brains sometime, and like the pancreas and kidneys. Like I haven't ventured down that road yet. I've had liver so far, and kind of just making the recipes like my own way. Because remember how they were saying if you use a tomato, I think Scott was saying it, and then you use the skin, and you see that when you're in the bathroom, like that always happens to me. So I'm like trying to peel the skin off a tomato and squeeze the juice out and seeds. It gets so complicated sometimes.
It does for
like keep
sure.
it simple. Keep it simple.
Right. Yeah, I do think the skin part is probably because nowadays they love to put some kind of like gel, or it's not exactly a gel, but some kind of like covering over the fruit so that bugs won't eat it. I know they do it with apples. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Like not the appeal. Bill Gates peel, you're talking about something else?
Oh, you mean the Bill Gates? No. Well, I don't know if tomatoes have it, but apples have this. It's like a wax coating over it, and that's why.
Oh yeah, even sometimes.
Yeah, so I think they do it on tomatoes as well. So that's definitely a concern. But me personally, I can't lie. When I make my tomato sauce, it already takes so long. I don't really have the time to peel the tomatoes,
Yeah.
and I haven't had any issues. So, I keep doing it that way. So, is there anything else you want to talk about? Because I think we could start wrapping this up.
Not really. I've just been really focusing on completely eliminated ultra processed food. Stay focused on the raw foods, getting outside, getting sunlight, grounding, and then doing that emotional work like meditation and mindfulness, and making progress. We're making progress.
Okay, well, hey, this was a little shorter, but this was a short and sweet conversation. I appreciate you coming on. Is there anything else you want to say? Any final words?
If you do go to my Instagram page, the link tree, there's a whole bunch of documentaries in there. But the Aajonus Google Drive in there. So there's a lot of good information if you need any links to anything. And I've been keeping a book list since 2002, and it's just grown to like beyond 300 books so far. They have like propaganda list, because when people are talking about caffeine or alcohol, like I found, how Aajonus basically talks about the propaganda of cooking?
Mm-hmm.
There's a book called This Naked Mind that talks about the propaganda of alcohol. There's a book called Caffeine Blues that talks about the propaganda of caffeine. And it's just amazing to have your eyes open and realize the lies of the world.
Yeah, I've seen you're always shouting out some kind of book or documentary. Listen, if you want a book to read, hit her up. Go on Instagram and go ask her your recommendations, because you know all the books. But
because I don't argue with anybody. Everybody finds their own way in their own time. So if you're not ready for the information, that book is there for when you are ready.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not worth the argument.
Absolutely. Well, again, I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on. Well, I'll see y'all later. Bye.